Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, a high-profile doctor says although monkeypox is prominent in a certain grouping, that does not make the virus exclusive to that group. It can be spread through close contact with those exposed to it. Plus, our news team is still on the ground in Exuma. Our Megan Shepherd got an update on the oil spill cleanup from the MP for Exuma. And she also brings us day 2 of the Rollville Regatta and Homecoming Festival. And introducing Laurel House, a place that assists with mapping the future of young women. Welcome to our news, the weekend edition, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Natalia Hall. Topping news tonight, earlier this week, the Bahamas marked a significant step in the fight against monkeypox, with the capacity to now test for the virus in country. Health experts are still seeking to get the message out about what monkeypox is and how you can stay safe. Christina Dragovich reports.
Close contact is the mode of transmission for the virus that the World Health Organization has declared a public health emergency. More than 16,000 cases have been confirmed worldwide in more than 70 countries. The Bahamas, Jamaica, and Barbados are among those in the region that have confirmed 1 case of monkeypox. Dr. Nakia Forbes, director of the National HIV/AIDS and Infectious Diseases Program, making one thing clear about the virus.
Not that it is sexually transmitted, but because of the close contact that happens in sexual relations. And so almost across the board, it requires close contact for transmission. In this current outbreak is what is being described in these outbreaks.
Dr. Forbes explains that certain key populations are presenting with the virus, including men who have sex with men. However, that does not make the virus exclusive to that group.
It's important to recognize that this is spread by close contact, including what happens in sexual relations. And so other persons and other populations have been reported to have monkeypox, including women, pregnant women, and a child I saw in recent reports. And it is very important that we recognize not to use stigmatizing language and to make sure that there's inclusion and respectful language which upholds people's human rights and dignity.
To that end, the virus can be passed from person to person through close contact or sustained contact for more than 3 hours. It can also be spread through exposure to bed sheets or towels from someone who may have blisters or pox associated with the virus.
If you come in contact with that material that's inside the pox, inside the rash, in the blisters or pus-filled blisters, it can be transmitted in that way. And so we know if that material gets on, for example, bed linens, towels, other objects, it can be spread in that way too.
For more on what you should look out for and how you can prevent the virus, tune in to our news tomorrow night. Reporting for our news, I'm Christina Dragovich.
The island of Exuma continuing to recover following a massive oil spill just 21 days ago. The area member of Parliament Chester Cooper on island for Exuma's Regatta and Homecoming Festival and spoke to our Megan Shepherd with an update on the cleanup efforts of that spill.
The crystal clear waters of Exuma marred by a major oil spill on July 10th. Member of Parliament for Exuma and Minister of Tourism Chester Cooper calling that oil spill a set of tragic circumstances that could have been worse. Some 20 days later, and the area MP gave this update.
I am pleased with the response in Exuma. I would say it's now perhaps 99% remediated. And we'll continue to monitor it. I'll go there in the morning, take a look. Last time I went, I had some concerns, and the Department of Environmental Health and Department of Planning and Protection returned to the site. They did some more work, and it's much better today than it was last week.
Now, as the Deputy Prime Minister mentioned, teams have been working tirelessly to restore this bay to the pristine conditions that tourists and residents alike have come to expect from the island of Exuma. And as you can see, while the water in this bay may not be as crystal clear as it used to be, you can see that the hues of blues are starting to return. Now, 3 weeks ago, our news team was on scene and our reporter, Marlena Leonard, mentioned the pungent smell of oil throughout the air. Now, I can tell you today that that while it may not be as strong as it was 3 weeks ago, the smell of oil still lingers in the air. Now, the Deputy Prime Minister is emphasizing that these type of situations cannot continue to happen in the Bahamas.
We have to put in place protocols to ensure that we are monitoring these processes. On this time it was 35,000 gallons. It could have been worse, but I am concerned that there may be, across the archipelago, there might be breaches of small spills that could eventually impact our way of life, impact marine life, damage our coral, damage our tourism product, damage our fishing resorts and marine life, and the way of life of our people.
Noting that the Bahamas is made up of vast amounts of land and ocean, he says every Bahamian must do their part in protecting the country's resources.
The investigation is still ongoing as it relates to Exuma, but I am confident that there were a set of protocols that would have detected that something was going wrong, and I am confident that those protocols must not have been followed. Otherwise, we would have made the determination that something was wrong before it got to the point of being so bad. So I call on Bahamians on every end of our economy, whether they are transferring oil or whether they're receiving oil, to ensure that there is the protocols being followed.
Reporting for our news from the island of Exuma, I'm Megan Shepard.
In other news, a home away from home center on Grand Bahama getting some much needed supplies recently. The City of Freeport Council and the International Organization of the Greek Orthodox Church combining their efforts to donate supplies to the organization. Councillor Marco Carey and representative of the Greek Orthodox Church, Sarissa Coyle, says they wanted to ensure that the donation was essential.
Why we choose cleaning supplies is because, due to the rising costs of goods, we would like to defray some of the costs from the home.
If nothing else, we need to be able to have clean surroundings, and we wanted to demonstrate that even though we are seemingly past the worst of the Hurricane Dorian and the pandemic, we're still aware that there are needs in the community, and we want to try as best as we can to meet those needs. So this is just a small token from the church to show that we're here, we recognize that the need is still here, and it's not over.
Manager of Home Away from Home, Cheyenne Fox, thanking the organization for the donation.
It was very much needed. As you are aware that we do have about over 50 persons inside of the home, so we are cleaning around the clock, especially with the COVID going on.
And still to come on our News, the weekend edition from Regatta with Love. The Our News team is on the ground in Exuma at the Rollville Regatta and Homecoming Festival and introducing Laurel House, a launch pad for the bright future of young women. That's coming up when Our News, the weekend edition returns. Let's head back to Exuma, where the 78th annual Rollville Regatta and Homecoming is still underway. Saturday officially kicked off the festivities on land and, of course, in the sea. Our Megan Shepard has a quick look of the fun.
Sack races, egg and spoon races, sugarcane peeling competition, pineapple eating and corn peeling competitions, even plaiting of the maypole. Day 2 of the Rollville Regatta and Homecoming Festival was all about good, friendly competition while bringing Exuma residents back together. Vice President of the Rollville Development Association, Pamela Roll-Store.
One thing I can say about Rollvillians, no matter where they are, Freeport, the U.S., Nassau, when it's homecoming, they come home. home. They believe in coming home, because coming home we get together, we have fun, we laugh, and it means a lot because they know once they come home and they spend money, it helps the community at large. Also, with the festival that we have here in Exuma, it helps the entire island of Exuma.
This year's theme is The Next Chapter, The Evolution, and Chairman of the Rollville Development Association, Maureen Musgrove, says that their goal is consistent growth.
As you know, COVID has struck down a lot of us, but we didn't stay down. So we are up and we are going to higher heights. And as you know, our team this year is The Next Chapter, The Evolution. So we all about changing our mind, the way we think, the way we do things. We are Rollville now is evolving to just to another level.
And of course, one of the highlights of the regatta weekend, sloop sailing. Sassy Sue, captained by Stephen Knowles of Long Island, dominating the C-class competition.
It was a good fleet. I think it was about 14 or 15 boats. There's 2 boats here from Long Island, one from Andros, and I think the rest are from the mainland Exuma and the Keys. This morning we raced all the way from Barratari up here. It's about 5-6 miles. It's a really strenuous race. You have to sail for almost 2 hours. And we were in 6th when we started, so we had to fight our way to the front the whole race. So it wasn't a walk in the park. But this afternoon race we sailed right in the harbor, for 45 minutes, and we were out front from the beginning. So just how we started, we ended.
Festivities from the beautiful island of Exuma continue throughout August Monday. Reporting from the island of Exuma for Our News, I'm Megan Shepard.
Thanks so much, Megan. Looks like a lot of fun. Switching gears now, it's been 1 week since a group of Haitian migrants lost their lives in an attempt at illegal entry into Florida using Bahamian waters. Investigations continue into what is now deemed human smuggling. In this report, we recap the tragedy. On Sunday, July 24th, police received reports of a twin-engine vessel that capsized some 7 miles off New Providence. The vessel left a docking facility off West Bay Street around 1 o'clock that morning with some 60 people on board with hopes to make it to Miami, Florida, but were unsuccessful due to rough seas. Now, immediately following the tragedy, the search continued for the bodies of the victims. The search widened from Blackbeard's Key to the Berry Islands. Up until July 26, no additional bodies were found. Now, initially, 17 bodies were pulled from the water by the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, while 25 Haitian migrants were rescued and turned over to immigration officials. The minister responsible for immigration confirming that 2 of the survivors were in possession of work permits, which will be canceled. The Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, condemning the act of human smuggling, as he says it is a serious crime.
I think it's a crime. It's dastardly. It is the strong taking advantage of the weak and desperate. People are looking for a better way of life, which even evolves into another sort of dastardly crime of what I call trafficking. So that is my view on that.
Police telling our news that one of the men who captained the boat has an international criminal record, and as a result of their findings, 53-year-old Mackenzie Jerome, 39-year-old Donald Watson, 49-year-old Yulin McKinney, and 37-year-old Wilbur Joseph were charged with 18 counts of manslaughter. Watson and McKinney were also hit with a charge of reckless operation of a craft and craft operators to be licensed. A prominent member of the Haitian community, Victory Chapel Church of the Nazarene, Senior Pastor Dr. Antoine St. Louis visited the detention center where the survivors of the tragic incident at sea are being held. He took care packages for the survivors and prayed with them.
We were able to carry care packages, and we give God thanks for that. We carry care package for everyone that was there: toothpaste, soap, comb, towel, and so we did what we can, and we really want to do more, trying to get some clothes so we can take for them, so as soon as we have that permission to do so.
Now, no word yet as to when the migrants will be repatriated to Haiti. Investigations are continuing. On the other side of the break, police on Grand Bahama doing their part by holding a luncheon for disabled Grand Bahamians. And a Bahamian woman tells the story of how she assists young women in starting out on the journey called life. We will have the details when our news returns. This is our news. Welcome back. The Royal Bahamas Police Force Northern Division coming together to host a luncheon in Grand Bahama recently to celebrate those who are living with disabilities. The officer in charge of the Northern region is asking the public to be more helpful with those in the disabled community. Officer in charge of the Northern Bahamas, ACP Theophilus Cunningham, says the purpose of the luncheon is to remind the public that people living with disabilities should be treated more fairly and equally. The police chief adding that the police will work together with urban renewal and the community to improve the overall quality of life for the disabled.
We must change the mindset that disability is a flaw or imperfection and see it for what it is. A human condition. Once we adopt this advanced way of thinking, disabled persons will be treated with respect and equality.
Chairman of Urban Renewal Stephen Dean telling attendees that there is no separation between themselves and the disabled.
All is required among us is the special love, is the special care, because they are mothers, they are fathers, they want the trenches for us. And who knows what will happen to me or you tomorrow.
Carnes Williams thanking officers for putting on the event and had this one request.
Can you, the officer who's in charge of road traffic, get them, send more officers to the frequent behind the gap spot where we got to park. Thank you.
Deputy Director for Urban Renewal Kirkland Russell addressing the issue of those parking in disabled parking spots.
We must respect the rules that are there to protect those people, and particularly parking. We have too many able persons parking in a parking spot that has been reserved for a person living with disability. Can you imagine a person in a wheelchair, unable to walk, paralyzed from waist down, having to go to a business and having to park 200-300 feet away just because a young person or a person who is able park in their designated spot?
One of the strategies police employ as a mechanism to fighting crime is neighborhood policing, as well as the formation of crime watch associations throughout the country. This has been a great tool in Grand Bahama to help reduce crime. That, according to the officer in charge of Grand Bahama, Assistant Commissioner of Police Theophilus Cunningham, who said as much during a media briefing this past week.
The leadership of woman ASP Nicola says is doing an excellent job in creating the number of the chat groups, which has really helped us over the years and over the last few months. And the people are concerned. They're quite receptive to the new idea of being able to speak into a chat group and inform their local police as to what their concerns are as it relates to crime prevention methods.
ACP Cunningham adding that they have even moved to create a chat group for the disabled community.
As a matter of fact, a number of these matters has been solved through those chat groups of Urban Renewal. We actually even created a disability chat group, and they're so excited and happy about it. They're overwhelmed.
And some sad news before the break. According to CBS Sports, NBA legend and Boston Celtics Greg Bill Russell has died today. Russell, an 11-time NBA champion as a player and coach with the Boston Celtics and one of the most important figures in NBA history, passed away peacefully with his wife Janine by his side. He was 88. Still to come, the weather forecast helping you to shape your holiday upright. And why one Bahamian woman feels the need to mentor and assist young girls in mapping out their future. That's coming up when our news returns. Welcome back to our news. Local and international teams are preparing for the Bahamas Chinese Dragon Boat Association's Dragon Festival slated for August 20th and 21st. A local cancer survivor team will also be participating. Join our Gene Joseph as he checks in with participants getting ready for the big day.
Cancer survivors worldwide have adopted dragon boat racing, mainly due to the research of Canadian sports medicine specialist Dawn McKenzie. Patrice Adderley, a breast cancer survivor of some 23 years, says the sport unites different people in the fight against breast cancer.
I do believe that this is a very good sport. The timing is right for the sport now to become a part of Regatta, because here it is now, we're fighting for a cause. Cancer is not a death sentence, so we're all excited to be a part of this great initiative.
Despite mixed views towards the discipline, survivor Carmen Patricia Forbes shares her experience and says she wants everyone to join the fight and support the events.
My experience was great. I'd like the public, I guess, to be more supportive, especially of the sister, and if they have any family members who are going through any survival situation, to just be encouraging and to always be there for them.
And corporate teams like Cable Bahamas group of companies, Dragon Warriors, aren't getting left behind. Melissa Miller DeVoe, Dragon Warrior team captain and Cable Bahamas human resources manager, is on board and encourages others to catch the boat.
It's a great initiative that Cable Bahamas joined. It's for the Cancer Society, so definitely to support. But it is a sport, and the Bahamas is looking for a team, so why not join? I mean, it's a full body workout.
Cable's Vice President of Business Solutions, Sharnette Thompson, says Dragon Boat Racing provides opportunities for camaraderie while supporting a worthy cause.
It gives us also an opportunity, like I said, to just connect with people within our team who we may not have seen for the past 2 years due to the pandemic, and as well as connect with others in our community that are growing and supporting the same goal with supporting breast cancer.
Whatever your motivation, it's not too late to participate. Visit the Bahamas Chinese Dragon Boat Association's website and social media to learn more. Reporting for our news, I am Gene Joseph.
Thanks so much, Gene. Now, tomorrow is Emancipation Day and everyone will be up and about enjoying the holiday festivities. Let's see what's in store for us weather-wise. When Leslie Cancino filled in for a friend as a volunteer at the Ranfley Home for Children, she had no idea that she'd be affected so deeply by her time there. Since then, she has opened her own home to young women who've aged out of Ranfley, hoping to be a launch pad for their future as independent women. Our Marlene Leonard visited Cancino this week to learn more about the story of Laurel House.
We first heard about Laurel House last week when Leslie Cancino received a donation at a Rotary Club of East Nassau Luncheon. This week, we got to sit down with Mrs. Cancino to get the full story of Laurel House and some of the young women who've lived there.
And there were 3 girls who were graduating that year, turning 18, and they'd be leaving Ranfley Home. So, I was like, what happens to them after they leave? Well, they turn 18, that's it. They're no longer wards of the state. They move out and they're on their own.
Cancino originally started as a temporary volunteer doing crafts with the children at Ranfley Home, but says she quickly forged lasting relationships with them. When recently aged out girls found themselves in trouble, she quickly opened her own doors to help.
And she told her, I don't want you. You're on your own. see you later. And this was the day before she turned 18. So I told her, bring her to me. So we had 3 girls in the house.
But Cancino offers more than just a place to stay. She works to teach these young women life skills like budgeting, opening a bank account, navigating public transport, job interview skills, and bill paying. Cancino realized it may be time for them to have their own space. There was an unused guest house in the backyard, but it would need to be torn down and rebuilt to be livable again.
And I spoke to a friend of mine, she's a designer, and I said, what do you think I could do? Do you think I have the space to make this a little bigger? And she said, absolutely. And why don't you ask people to help you and ask for money? And I had never thought of that because I said, we can't afford this right now. And we're supporting these girls on our own.
Help and donations came in droves, with some construction and plumbing companies offering donations in kind upon hearing of Cancino's imagined Laurel House. Tune in next Sunday for part 2 on how Laurel House is changing lives and how you can donate to the cause. Reporting for our news, I'm Marlena Leonard.
Thank you for joining us on our news, the weekend edition. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Natalia Hall. Continue to enjoy your holiday weekend.